So I was filming earlier, and I had all these great bits planned for you guys. And I went and I was reviewing the videos after. Forgot to turn on the mic. Take 2. Despite that little setback, I still have finally finished the time study. Despite the setback, I come bearing gifts. I promised you pie charts, and now you have them. It took a really long time to go through and take down everything, and then to categorize it, and then to lump it into stuff. Finally got done, and the results are astounding. According to the time study, nearly 40% of my time that week was spent sleeping. Much higher than I expected it to be, because I expected 8 to be a high average of the time that I would spend sleeping every night. This comes out to about 5, 6. This comes out actually to about 8.3 hours per night. Now these results are a little bit skewed because I took a composite time of 4 hours in naps that week. Very unusual for me. I don't take naps that often. And I just happened to get in not 1, but 2 2-hour naps. They were extensive naps. Second on the list is also what I guessed, that it would be classwork. Now, these results are also a little bit skewed, as I lumped in all of the time that I spent practicing music into class time, whereas on another day I might have just lumped it in with homework. With that in mind, actually about 1/3 of the class period time I have categorized was me practicing music. Despite this, if you add up the classwork and the homework, you actually get about 25% of my time here is spent doing classwork. What I did not expect was that Netflix would be the 3rd highest category on this list. I find this odd for 2 reasons. 1, because I don't actually watch Netflix that much. That's not true. I really only had 1 reason, and it was a lie. Now this category is actually a little bit anomalous, because during that week I got into Attack on Titan, and ended up watching the entire 1st season in that week. The week that I analyzed was actually a little strange for a few reasons, and that I actually got to take naps, and I also had a lot of time to watch Netflix. I am usually more productive than that. Gosh, it's not true either. Now, about 5% of my time I categorized as miscellaneous. I had a few things on the list that only happened once and didn't take up enough time to necessitate their own category, so I just lumped them all together. Some of these things include ping pong, going to Krispy Kreme, apologizing for 17 minutes, trolling the internet, and Sky Zone. You also might see that 4% of my time was spent doing stuff. I don't know why I put quotes around it, it's not illegal or anything like that. It was mainly when I was too lazy to write down what I was actually doing, and so I just wrote stuff. 6% of my time I actually found was in transitionary action, as in 3% of it was driving to places and 3% of it was walking to places. This was one of the things I planned on finding out in the whole time study idea, was how much of our time is actually spent transitioning to do other things. How much of our time is actually spent walking or in preparation for another event. The last thing I found was that this week is not terribly representative of my actual time usage. My weeks are a very day-to-day basis, so in some days that I expect not to have very much time, I will end up with more time than I know what to do with. So overall, this week did not represent very well how I spend my time in general. What it did allow me to do was get an overview of how I spend my time, without being specifically accurate. If I ever do this again, I will probably create more defined categories in which to allot my time. I will also get a better cross-section, and maybe take a week out of each month for a period of time, or do a whole month straight. Overall, very informative, but very annoying to do. One could almost say that college is just one big transitionary period. With that thought in mind, I almost want to make the point that